Michigan will receive a significant fine expected to be more than $20 million from loss of postseason football revenue for the next 2 seasons. And then the other thing, obviously the big thing with Sherrone Moore's suspension, Michigan coach Sherrone Moore is given an additional game suspension, which is expected to take place in 2026, with the school self-imposed 2-game suspension for week 3 and 4 this season standing. So we'll obviously get a full confirmation of this at noon when that NCAA press conference comes. But if Pete Thamel of ESPN is putting this out on ESPN.com, you have to believe that this is actually what's going to happen. So essentially, Brad, like we talked about earlier and like most Michigan fans had been talking about, really not much of a fine coming here for Michigan, right? This is basically what most people expected to happen, except the extra game coming, but it's for 2026 instead of this season.
Yeah, it's sad that Jolyn Ellison is going to be out another $20 million, you know?
Is that one of the top donors? Or?
Yeah, it's Larry Ellison's wife, I believe.
Yes.
So,
the Bryce, right, yeah.
Yeah, the Oracle guys. Yeah, as we stated earlier, it's about what we expected.
Yeah.
I think when we talked about it earlier, I think I put a number on it and said, like, oh, who cares if it's a $10 million fine and an actual 2-game suspension? It's about what it landed as.
Right.
And I think the fine itself is actually in the loss of postseason revenue.
Right,
Isn't that what
exactly.
it states?
Yeah, so it's not even just coming from the athletic
So they're not even
department.
writing a check. They're just going to play postseason football the next 2 years, and whatever the money that they make off that is.
Which will be a ton, obviously.
Yeah, and so they lose $20 million. Who cares?
And obviously Michigan would have to play. I mean, so are they just assuming that they make the postseason the next 2 years based on this report?
Would there not be a rev share throughout the Big Ten? How does that work?
Oh, you're probably right, yeah. So this is essentially nothing, though. This is a slap on the wrist coming down to Michigan. So we'll see if anything more. I assume we'll get more details at noon as far as if there's anything coming to Connor Steins and Jim Harbaugh, which you probably expect there to be, if there's anything coming to Central Michigan, and just confirming that this is actually the case here. But definitely...
it looks to be legit.
It looks to be legit, yes.
If Thamel's got it, Wetzel's got it, yeah. I mean, I think all the other Michigan reporters are echoing the same things.
Right. Yeah, the 1 p.m. press conference basically meaningless at this point with this all being reported. So, yeah, this is not really that big of a shock. Michigan will just be without Sherrone Moore likely for weeks 3 and 4 as expected, that game being home versus CMU at Nebraska instead of doing weeks 1 and 2. A little bit surprised that the NCAA kind of let them get away with that as far as picking and choosing which games Sherrone Moore will be gone for. And I don't really necessarily understand moving a suspension to 2026. Why not just give him a 3-game this year? This just continues to elongate this thing. It basically adds another year onto it that Sherrone Moore will be facing a punishment that took place 3 years ago next season. But whatever.
They're not going to suspend him for the Oklahoma game because the Oklahoma game matters. So what would they do? Suspend him for New Mexico? And then he would miss weeks 1, 3, and 4?
Right, but I mean, they suspended Jim Harbaugh in a extremely important game 2 years ago. So,
sure.
I don't know. I thought that the NCAA didn't get along with Michigan at this point, you know? So that's why I'm a little bit surprised by that, because it seems like they're just kind of playing into their hands for this. Which, Michigan, shout out to them for getting ahead of it and giving Sherrone Moore that 2-game suspension, and it kind of helped their case with the NCAA, that they kind of got away with what they wanted to happen. So a good job on them for getting this self-imposed suspension out of the way.
Yeah, what a waste of 2 years.
Yes, yeah, for
what
real.
An absolute waste of 2 years.
For this all to come to this,
yes.
For this to be the end-all, be-all of everything, like you said, a major waste of everybody's time, a waste of just all the speculation that we've had over the last couple years of this. I'm interested to see what Michigan State fans, Ohio State fans, SEC people kind of feel about all of this. Like we talked about earlier, shouldn't be surprised that this is the case. Are you upset that they didn't get more? Are you upset that they get anything? But I don't think anyone is upset about the $20 million coming from postseason football revenue, because that's just that it means nothing, obviously. It's not going to hurt the actual athletic department there. So we'll see what continues to come from that.
Most Michigan fans acknowledge that they cheated in some way, that it probably didn't affect outcomes, and if it did, it was very small. I think, and you know, feel free to have Michigan State folks in the chat, you know, give us their thoughts,
right,
via text or YouTube or Facebook. But because I think it's interesting to know how Michigan State folks react to this. I think it's somewhat telling. I don't really care how Michigan folks react, right? Like, who cares how God's chosen people feel like they're going to be taken away from this? Like, They think they're God's football team. They're the Dallas Cowboys. So obviously whatever happens here is an affront to college football. I don't have any dog in the fight.
Right, not a fan of either.
Not a fan of either. I think to care about the punishment today, if you're a Michigan State fan, if you're an Ohio State fan, if you're a Big Ten football fan, or you're the Paul Feinbaums of the world down south, like, it's lunch monitoring. I don't necessarily like 2 years now.
Right.
Look, Jim Harbaugh, Connor Stallions, they're never coaching another down in college football.
Of course.
Not that should matter, but punishments in law breaking are to deter further law breaking on top of holding you accountable, right? Like you break the law, you should be held accountable, eye for an eye, and on top of that, it's to deter further law breaking. If they wanted to deter this, they wouldn't have changed the sport and started putting headsets in quarterbacks' helmets. Like, the law breaking forced a change to the sport that was ultimately positive. And no matter how bad the law breaking was, if they wanted to bring down the swift fist of justice on this, they probably would have by now, or we would be getting an inclination that they would be today.
And there's zero inclination of that.
I don't think there's any indication in my mind that this is going to be truly any more strict than a major fine that some mega donor, probably Oracle, will just pay. Like, all of these folks that just paid for Bryce Underwood are waiting in the wings to pay whatever it is.
Exactly.
Whatever the fine is, whatever arbitrary amount of money that it's going to cost the Michigan Athletic Department, like it matters, is all that's probably coming down today. And then at most, like, the half measure to me would be, hey, Michigan, you did the self-imposed thing for games 3 and 4. You're also losing them for games 1 and 2 because Sherrone clearly had something to do with this. And he destroyed evidence, right, at some point.
And they found that the text, because they did recover the text with Stallions and Sherrone Moore, and that they didn't have anything to do with the sign-stealing stuff. But I don't know. Obviously, it's still sketchy that they were deleted.
Yeah, don't destroy the evidence. Also, don't self-impose for a couple of games that don't matter. It's funny that the game that they're going to be suspended against is this other clown show in CMU. We're both alma maters of. I like, what's the fine to that athletic department today?
Right, and that's a different situation too, because the entire football staff is brand new there at CMU. So I don't know what that looks like. I would assume it's just a fine that comes to the athletic department, but
which for a school of that size has some consequence.
Of course, yeah, majorly, honestly, yeah.
Like I think it's going to be more interesting today what happens to CMU, because what the hell were you doing?
Right.
Whether or not Jim McElwain was the only one who knew, and he's gone now, but, I mean, there was a guy just on Twitter in your locker room you'd never seen before. He's dressed up.
For a game, too, that it's just it's one of your bigger games of the year, you know, obviously at Michigan State, where a lot of people are going to be watching and seeing what's going on with more cameras, obviously.
Yeah.
So, I agree. That's definitely – I think, though, to your point about the Michigan State – Ohio State, SEC people watching this today, I think you're right as far as, like, they shouldn't care, but boy, are they going to. Specifically the Ohio State people.
Yeah, the Ohio State people will, because they're led by a total loser in Ryan Day. But that's okay.
Well, also because they also have won a national championship. You know, it's gone Ohio State, Michigan. So they can now rub it in the face that we did it cleanly. If any punishment happens at all, right? They're going to use that as well. You didn't cleanly win the national championship, Michigan, and we did. That's going to be the perspective of Ohio State fans.
Sure.
Michigan State fans.
If that helped them sleep at night. Again, I'm not a Michigan fan. I just find the Ohio State stuff funny. Like, y'all have been essentially investigated for the same stuff, not to a certain degree.
For a long time, yeah.
For a long time. And on top of that, you guys, let's not, revise history here. 2 years ago, in the middle of the season, when J.J. McCarthy started peeing down his leg because you thought it was because Connor Stallions wasn't on the sideline anymore, and it was like, oh, there it goes, completion percentage down, Jim Harbaugh not there anymore. That's what it was, and then they went on to win the Natty. Like, I don't know, man. Right. You guys were kind of wrong in the middle of the year.
And then still beat them last year, obviously, when Ohio State wins the national championship. So, yeah, I mean, there's definitely sour apples there. From the Michigan State fans, like, I mean, I would say myself, I'm a Michigan State person. I'm watching this situation, and obviously I think that I do care about what happens, but I'm not like praying that the hammer gets laid down, ban them from a bowl, suspend Moore for the year. I'm not expecting none or like wanting any of that, but I am interested to see how this gets handled,
Same. And I think, like, look, there's a Netflix documentary. It's 2 years old. It's one of the biggest brands in football. Like, there's a lot to this. The NCAA, to avoid looking like a clown show here, has got to do something that it is at least Jerry Jones-esque in the theatrics of laying this out, right? Otherwise,
You can't
it's
get
like,
to that level.
right, what the hell are you doing the last 2 years?
Right.
So, again, there's no vacated wins. There's no postseason ban. The other big part of this for folks that like want to bring a swift hammer of justice down on Michigan, if there are Michigan State folks out there that are like, man, this is an affront to college football. Like when they polled all those college football coaches and they were like, oh, this is the dirtiest thing that's ever been done in college football history, right? Like,
Yeah.
If it really was, in a day and age where there is a lot tied to gambling money here, like federal offenses to altering outcomes of games with the amount of money that's involved in the games, it would have been a far swifter and a quicker hammer of justice, and it's just not going to be
Right.
that way.
I mean, if they found more evidence, it probably would have been released by now. So, yeah,